Good morning and welcome to Unity of Dayton. We are broadcasting this morning on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and we are very pleased to have you with us. Unity of Dayton, Unity was founded on prayer, and we begin everything with prayer. So let us begin this service with prayer. Loving and living God, we are so grateful for this opportunity to gather together, to explore new ideas, new ways of seeing things, new perspectives, to move into our heart, to open our heart and our minds to a deeper awareness of you, your presence in us, around us, and as us. And for this opportunity, for all the blessings that are in our lives, we say thank you. Thank you, God. Amen. I want to welcome anyone who's joining us for the first time today. We are a little different from some other churches, and we are a member of the New Thought group. And we are very excited to have you with us today. I hope that you find something that resonates with you as you listen to our music and listen to our message and participate in our prayers and meditations. So thank you again for joining us. We have an affirmation today, and it is a two-sentence affirmation. So I would like to share with you the first sentence and then have you pray it with me. The affirmation is, I am wonderfully and uniquely me. Will you share that with me, please? I am wonderfully and uniquely me. I celebrate the magnificence of life in all its forms. Together, I celebrate the magnificence of life in all its forms. So I want to say that affirmation one more time, both sentences together. I am wonderfully and uniquely me. I celebrate the magnificence of life in all its forms. You may want to write that out or look at it online and revisit it during the week. It's a powerful affirmation. As you know, our senior minister, Reverend Cindy White, is on sabbatical right now. And so today we have the pleasure of our guest speaker, Rebecca Victor, joining us. Rebecca is a personal and professional empowerment and spiritual coach, and she's been doing that and giving live presentations for over 25 years. She motivates individuals to transform themselves and their lives with greater freedom, self-awareness, and confidence, helping them to combine the power of their heart, mind, and intuition. She teaches them ways to live from the inside out in integrity and joy. Rebecca travels the country presenting to audiences looking for new ways to live that are respectful of the whole person and that are in integrity with their life's purpose and passion. So a little later, you will hear a meditation from Rebecca and a dynamic message. I chose a good day to be with us today. I'd like to share with you a reading from our daily word. Unity publishes a magazine that has a daily message, inspirational message. And the thought for today is pray for others. The affirmation is, I know the truth of each dear one I hold in prayer. What an honor it is to hold others in prayer. I am grateful for this sacred trust and use it to see beyond appearances, knowing conditions are temporary. I focus on the unchangeable truth that each one for whom I pray is a divine being, a living expression of God. As I pray for others, I envision divine peace, calming thoughts, and strengthening faith. I see healing leading to the realization of wholeness. I pray divine love and wisdom create harmony in relationships, guiding every decision. I affirm divine order is established in every area of life. I claim for them the zeal to complete everything that needs to be done. I then give thanks, grateful to bless others with the gift of prayer. And the reading is from Matthew 18:19. Again, truly I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. And now we'll have a musical selection that will lead us into the meditation.
There is peace, there is quiet when we touch the stillness. There is love, there is healing when we touch the stillness. There is hope that is growing when we touch the stillness. May you rest, may it flow, breathing in, letting go in the stillness. There is peace, there is quiet when we touch the stillness.
Excuse me, Rebecca. Could you unmute yourself?
Thank you so much, Victoria. So I have to say that just felt so good to hear that music and to touch that stillness. And sometimes when I touch that stillness, a way that helps me is I put my hand over my heart and helps me quiet down and to pull within and to remember. To feel my heartbeat, or to feel the breath that's moving in and out of my body. I move into that space of quiet so that I can remember that amidst the world and all its noise and busyness, there's me. An opportunity to remember, an opportunity to recall this me and to rest in its presence. Because it is through the me that we are, that our heart and our being and our mind begins to open to the presence of the divine. The presence of the divine that rests ever so intimately as our very being. And as we breathe our breath, we realize that the love that is life itself is breathing us, is breathing me, as we own that the very life that breathes who I am is the life that is creation, that is love. And we realize that that which beats our heart is that which is life itself, love itself. And that which thinks our thoughts is that which has been always and will forever be. And it is that which gives life to who it is that we know ourselves to be. As we, in this human experience, learn to trust in the beauty and in the love that we are, in the sacredness of our being, not only for ourselves, which is where it begins, but then as we turn and we look outward and we see it in the breath and in the heartbeat and in the mind of all with whom we connect. And so we take this moment, these few moments, to feel ourselves as the beat of our heart, as our very breath, as our mind, as the one that is all that is. And we simply give thanks as we rest and what is coming up for each of us in our awareness and understanding, knowing that it is meant for us. And we simply say, thank you, for we are grateful. And so it is.
There's a place I can go where there's peaceful waters flow. When things are hard, I go and sit a spell. Throw my legs over its rim. I can dip my whole hand in. Taste the healing waters from the well. Now in my soul, fed by a stream where the living waters flow. Beyond right, beyond wrong, love's current runs deep and long, inviting all to linger at the well. Oh, the spring that feeds the well, where it's at no one can tell, but its cooling waters never can run dry. Its tributaries find, connect the hearts of all mankind. And we will all return there by and by. Sometimes life can be so cruel, leaves me wondering who wrote these rules. Confused and tired, I thirst to be refreshed. Hear a voice telling me there are things you cannot see. Find comfort in the water of the well. Now in my soul, fed by a stream where the living waters flow. Beyond right, beyond wrong, love's current runs deep and long, inviting all to linger at the well. Beyond right, beyond wrong, we will share a cup so strong. When drawing from the water of the well.
Thank you so much, Brenda and Joy. That was such a beautiful song. And I'd like to share with everybody that was actually a song written by Joy. So thank you for sharing your passion for music and creating things that we get to delight in. Thank you. And if you'll notice too, and I want to also thank Reverend Sue for her keeping everything all ongoing, and for Victoria and Gary behind the scenes. None of this happens unless we all come together. And so I am grateful for that. And it kind of ties into what I'm going to be talking about today. And what I'm talking about is this idea of what is the sound of one hand clapping. And I remember when I first heard that, I'm thinking, what is the sound of one hand clapping? And boy, it's one of those riddles that your mind can take off in 1,000 different directions. And actually, it was designed for that purpose. They're called koans, and they're used by Buddhic teachers to instruct their students so that their students have an opportunity to learn how to expand themselves and their understanding and their ability to become aware and know that they can expand beyond what the mind initially has as an understanding. So it allows them to grow. And even this time together will evolve and grow. But it's not for the purpose of trying to respond to this koan. I just liked the image of this idea of one hand clapping, right? And trying to figure out the sound it makes. Because on one hand, the hand doesn't make any sound because there's nothing it's striking against. But then again, it wouldn't matter if it did make a sound if we didn't have the ears to hear it, right? Because the ears are what allow the vibration to translate it into a sound. But that's for another talk. In this one, I want to take a look at what happens when you have a person who's standing in there and they have a hand, like you have Joy who's written a song. And here's this person wants to be able to applaud, but they don't have anything against which that hand can press to make a sound, to make that clap, and in that clap, register their appreciation for something. So what do they need? Of course, that person needs another hand, don't they? Right? But what we understand and discover is that it's just not any hand, because here's a hand. But this hand has to do something. So a hand that stands indifferent and inactive can or might not be something that you want. But this hand needs something that it can clap against. So here's a hand, and it's moving. But look, there's no clap. We've got two hands in motion, but no clapping. What's going on? How are we going to get this sound? When we realize that although it's wonderful to be in sync and be alike, in order for there to be a clap, we have to have a hand moving in opposition to the other hand. So that when they come together intentionally, they're coming together to create a sound. And we look and we think, these are two hands coming together, and they're definitely coming from opposing sides, right? Opposite sides. But yet, they're not overpowering one another. They're not trying to slam or destroy each other, because they're coming together from opposite ends, opposite perspectives, opposite parts of the spectrum to create something with intention. Now, I share this because over this past year and over the past couple of years, I have noticed myself and noticed the people that I have connected with that this time has been a time of tremendous change all over the world. And it's a change that has felt so big that we haven't been able to rely on what we used to rely on before. I mean, we used to feel that we could rely on certain principles and certain laws or certain actions to be consistent. And all of a sudden, we're seeing inconsistency everywhere. And we're like, how do we respond to this? And so we tend to want to separate ourselves, to move into a place that feels safer as we move into it. And that happened a lot this past year. You know, that as a result of the pandemic, many of us moved within, which had tremendous value because we got to discover things about ourselves that until then we never would have. And yet it caused us to withdraw. And now we're coming out of this time and we're wondering, who are we and how are we going to play and engage in a world we're not certain of? Because the who that's coming out is different than the who that went in. And we're just discovering what that difference is in us. And then how do we bring that to bear into play in this world, especially when we're not certain? And we want to go ahead and group in our groups We've got this group here, and I'm going to just divide it. This is the group of green shorts, and I've got this group over here, and this is a group of people with red shirts, and over here, this is a group of people who have orange hats, and here's another group with pink shoes. So there's all different kinds of groups that we figure if we join, we have a level of security and safety. And in some sense, we do, because it's kind of like that herd, that sense of a herd. When you're among a herd of animals galloping across the plains and there's a lion after you, if you stand out, you're easy access, right? But if you're part of that herd, there's a level of security and safety. So in some instances, having the security of that group is very valuable. But what happens if, when we stand in our groups, we realize that, like if I'm in the group that's got green shorts, what happens if I realize that I have a red shirt hiding underneath my top shirt, that it's red underneath my top shirt? Now, not only am I green shorts, but I have a red shirt. And do I dare to risk, paying attention to the fact that I now have this red shirt, to risk to step outside of the known element of being in my secure group, to take a risk to see if somebody in the red shirt group would be willing to connect with me? And lo and behold, I kind of step out, and maybe the red shirt group kind of looks at me and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, man, you do not have a red shirt. So you're not like us, and we're not going to connect." But yet somebody within that red shirt group, all of a sudden standing there, and they look down and they realize that they've got two pairs of shorts on, and underneath their blue shorts are green shorts. And oh my, they too have red and green. But dare they step out of the circle of what they know? Because it's a risk. It's a risk of being ridiculed. It's a risk of being chastised, pushed out, don't come back. Because we can't trust you because you show some of the green. You're not fully red, and the green do the same. But little do we realize that even though we end up in different groups, that there's people in the groups that have red shirts and green shorts and orange hats and pink shoes. And they don't know how to step out of those shoes. How to step out of their groups, I mean. It's like when I entered into this time of quietness last year, the only way I could communicate with others was through Zoom or phone call or FaceTime. But I mean, Zoom was what it was. And I started meeting women from all over the world in the different groups I was in. And it was phenomenal. And what was very clear to me is that even though the governments that we were represented, the countries that we lived in, had their own agendas, we were not defined by our governments. That we far exceeded the definition of that. The governments were doing what they do, but as individuals, we had connections, and they were powerful. We found out that we were not only having green shorts, but we had red shirts, and we could connect and relate. And in that ability to connect and relate, we could intentionally start to create relationships. Like the two hands coming together could co-create a clap. Because without these two hands in opposition to one another, they never could come together and create that clap. That clap would not be. But here we have people of like interests coming together, and that's wonderful. And they're creating and co-creating because that diversity is the spice of life. Can you imagine a world, for example, when we look at the world we live in, this is a world of duality. It's a world of opposites. So you have a spectrum of something, and you've got one on one side and one on the other, opposites. You have daytime, nighttime, in, out, up, down. Could you imagine what it would be if there were no nighttime? It was just daytime. That's all that existed. Not night, but daytime. Would we even have daytime? Would that hour exist? Would we know what daytime is to even identify it as such? Or an up and a down, all we had was up. That's all we did was go up. Well, would we even know what up is? Would we even have that word because there's no down? Or if we just went in, right? How would we even know what in is? Because there's no out. And so all of a sudden we discover this world of opposites, this world of duality has a tremendous value because of the opposites, we get to appreciate the uniqueness of what's on the other end of the spectrum. That because we have nighttime, we can appreciate daytime. And because we have daytime, we can appreciate nighttime. And because we have in, we can go out. And because we have an up, we know what it is to go down. And all of a sudden, a world of variances, a world of variety is introduced to us. And we begin to discover our delights. It takes on a whole fresh realm. And that's this idea when we're living in this world and we see such variance as would cause us to want to segregate into our small little groups. It is the variance that would allow us to see the beauty of our own being. It's the variance that says, oh, wow, some people can sing, some can't. That's why those who can't can appreciate Brenda's voice. Or those who can't play piano can appreciate Joy's ability to play piano, right? Or somebody who likes to cook has people who can appreciate because they like to eat. I'm one of those. And all of a sudden, there's a realization of the value and the beauty that exists in the uniqueness and in the variances, even when they appear to be on the opposite end of the spectrum. In unity, as part of the New Thought movement, there is the idea, the understanding, the belief, and the knowing that there is only one. There is only one source of life that exists. And that source of life expresses in, through, and as all of its creation. And as each and every aspect of creation is fully and completely that piece of the divine, that aspect of the divine. It's not the totality of the divine, but it's that aspect. But even in the coming together, we get to experience the awesomeness of the one because of how it's expressed everywhere, whether we agree or we do not. In New Thought, in unity, we see the oneness, the beauty, and the connection, even in the difference. That the difference, rather than represent something to be afraid of, represents an opportunity for the discovery. But we as individuals who participate within this teaching and take this teaching and move out into the world in unique ways, we have to be willing to be open up. Am I willing to intentionally work with something that is so different from me that I don't know where to begin? So that together we can experience the magnificence of the one that we come from, the one that we are, as what we are co-creating in that moment together. In New Thought, we believe and know that it is possible because it has been experienced. Now, in this time, there's that time of great fear. So people are splitting and saying it's impossible. We can't do this. And we can buy into that. We can buy into that fear. We can agree with it and we can stay in our own little corners. And even though I have a red shirt and I have actually pink shoes in my closet, I'm not going to step outside because it's not safe. So I'll never get the opportunity to experience the joy of connecting with someone who's in the red shirt group who's got green shorts, but they're afraid like me, or somebody who's got pink shoes. And all of a sudden, all this opportunity to create and build something more beautiful because we have chosen to come together rather than be afraid and stay apart. Instead, we've chosen to honor the life energy that we are, the love that we are. And so we do that by first and foremost owning our own magnificence. Taking time to appreciate, to love, to validate, to go, wow, I'm awesome. And often somebody will hear, oh yeah, well, what will somebody else say when I say I'm awesome? Well, this isn't for anybody else. There's no cheering section. This is you. This is me. Me taking time and willing to move through the work that I have to do, to own my own beauty, to own my own love, to own my own magnificence. And it is work, because sometimes I have to let go of the things that I'm afraid of, that I'm afraid of being mocked and ridiculed. But boy, I'm more afraid of not paying attention and connecting with the love of my own being than I am being mocked and ridiculed. And you see, when I start to own that, then what it is that I can turn to you and I can say, man, we are as different as night and day. But thank God we are different as night and day, because I get to see something magnificent in life, about source, that I can't see looking at me, because that's not me. But because of you, I get to see something that delights my soul, introduces me to flavors and colors and experiences and sounds that only you can bring. And so in this community, we learn how to own our own value, how to own our own beauty. We learn tools and techniques like meditation and reading and contemplation and connecting and taking classes to help us move through and do the work so we can own who we are, because we're worth it. So are those that we love. So are those that we can't stand. We are all part of the one. And so once we own that, then we can see it in another, and then we can be willing to open up and ask if we want to play together. Ask if in this moment we want to create something that, because we've come together, it has a chance to be. But as we do the work, we develop the courage to take the steps that we need to take, to get out and connect with the people in ways that open doors instead of close them. That we get to then own a greater part of what it is to be part of this loving, dynamic oneness that we call many names: God, Allah, Yahweh, Source, Spirit. It's got many names. But that, as we come together in the beauty of our creating, our co-creating, all of a sudden, as co-creators, we brought something else into being that wouldn't have been if we had not chosen to do that, regardless of how diverse. I remember being a little girl and wanting to have a friend so much, but being afraid that if I said something, people would not want to be my friend. And I remember my mother saying, the only way you're going to know is to take the risk to find out. And so I had to prepare myself. And I remember walking up to a little girl playing in her driveway and saying hi and being very nervous, and her saying hi, and then having the courage, because she said hi, to say, you want to play? And then to hear her say, yeah, I can't play for very long because we're going away, but I would like to play right now. And then all of a sudden that fear of rejection just dissipated in that moment. And we got to come together because one of us took a chance to break the ice, to say hello, to find a way of communing and connecting. And as we do this, understand that there are more people who want to connect than there are who are afraid and retreat. That ours is not to try to get them out of their hole, to get them out of that, but is to love and honor them where they are and to continue to build what it is that we are building. It's not to fight. It's not to get up and resist and get in their faces. It's let them be, because that's fear. That's fear. Let them be. Because the greatest gift that we can do for someone in fear is to know that love is present there too, unfolding in its highest form, whether we see it or not. That we can believe in the truth of the life that we come from, that source of love that we are, that it is great enough, that it is present everywhere, and to trust it. So if you see someone trying to clap, and all they have is one hand. Join them, even though you're different. Dare to take the risk to come together to say, how can we intentionally create something that for both of us uplifts us and adds a greater dimension to what it is that we call life. And it is with this that I say thank you for the opportunity to share and speak with you today, as I lovingly pass this on to the offering with Reverend Sue.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that affirming, thought-provoking, and inspiring message. Oh my, there was so much there. I think I may listen to that again. In fact, probably more than once. That was wonderful. And I also very much appreciated Joy's song, The Well. That was beautiful. Yes, it is time to bless the tithes and offerings. Now, when we meet here in person in the sanctuary, we invite people to get your checks, get your money, whatever material form of blessing that you might have prepared for us today, and to hold it in your hands. And so I would, whether you have anything physically right now, that intention, as Rebecca spoke quite a bit about intention, hold that intention between your two hands. Those two hands that have come together to meet. And one could represent that humanness of us, and one could represent our spirit self, or, some of those paradoxes in life. And between them, we have that love that you'd like to share with us in whatever form you'd like to share it. We have, we receive checks through the mail, and we have donate buttons on our website, and I think probably on YouTube. And just know that we do very much appreciate all gifts and tithes. That is what keeps this ministry vibrant. So, and we send, we tithe on all the tithes we get. So they go out into the world beyond Unity of Dayton as well. So we hold that intention, we hold that love offering between our hands. And let me just say by myself the love offering blessing that we use here, and then I will invite you to pray it with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. So let us pray that together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And we are so grateful for this opportunity to share from the blessings that we receive with this church community and with the world. And we are so grateful for all the blessings that we know are returning to us in this moment, and we say thank you.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 I'm so grateful.
And speaking and singing of gratitude, I am so grateful for our wonderful guest speaker today, Rebecca Victor, and her very, very inspirational message, and for our fabulous music team. You just saw all three of them there. Catherine in the background, and Brenda as lead vocal, and Joy on keyboard. And we are so grateful for each and every one of you and for all the beauty and inspiration that you bring us through the vehicle of music. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a few inspirational, transformational opportunity announcements. One is to remind you that if you are local and would like to just kind of hang out sometime and hear the service out in our parking lot, you can do so because we have an FM station that works just here on the grounds, 105.3, and a lot of people come, they sit out in front or they sit out in the back. If it's nice weather, oftentimes they kind of camp out back there and sit around on the picnic tables and listen to the service and have a little bite to eat afterwards and visit. And so it's just fun. So you might want to think about doing that sometime. We have another way of gathering, and that will be cleanup day. I think we just had one of those, or recently there was one, but this one will be on Saturday, July 24th, starting at 9 a.m., going till 1. And the main focus here will be painting, cleaning, arranging, decluttering, and reconnecting. Cleaning supplies will be provided. There's a lot to be done in anticipation of reopening the building, which for now, the tentative reopening date is September 12th. And that's going to come faster than you can imagine. So we look forward to seeing you on July 24th at 9 a.m. Come when you can, leave when you must. But there will be kind of a core group here from 9 until 1. And the restrooms, of course, will be available. Well, the building will be open because we're going to be doing cleaning inside here. I wanted to also mention that I've started a summer spiritual sharing sessions group. We've had 2 meetings already, and our next meeting will be July 23rd, that's on a Friday from 1 to 2:30. This particular group meets on occasional Fridays. It's not every week, and it's always 1 to 2:30, and it's through Zoom. And we're looking at the book, The Endless Practice, Becoming Who You Were Meant to Be by Mark Nepo. Basically, what I've told the group is read what you'd like to read and bring what has resonated with you, whether it be an aha or a question or a concern or something that's kind of bubbled up in you because of your readings. And it's really been fun. So if that sounds like something that would interest you, please do contact me. My email address is revsue, that's revsue, @unityofdayton.org. I also want to mention, because I kind of think I forgot to mention it at the opening, that if you have a prayer request, to also send that to revsue @unityofdayton.org. All we really need is names. God knows everything else. So if you'd like to share some names of some of your loved ones who you think would benefit from being held in prayer, please do so. We have a prayer team that is praying fervently every day of the week, every day of the month, and every day of the year. And that is for congregants, and that is for our world. And as you know, prayer is powerful. Also, we send those prayer requests on to Silent Unity down at the headquarters of Unity, and they pray with those names for an additional 30 days. So know that that's an opportunity for you. We have some other groups on Zoom. The women's group is studying A New Earth with Victoria Heron, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And that they meet on Wednesdays from 10 to 12. And also Dan Studebaker, our board president, has been doing a book called Exploring Ascension Energies. And they meet on every other Wednesday. That's the first and third Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now, both of these are Zoom groups. So if you'd like a Zoom invite, the address to email would be unity@unityofdayton.org. unity@unityofdayton.org. So that's what we've got going on around here. And I want to just once again mention, we have absolutely fabulous grounds here. We have a labyrinth that is available 24/7. We have the prairie, which is beautiful. We have a meditation garden. We have a peace pole. We have space to walk. We have picnic tables. So come and avail yourself of our grounds. And the energy here is absolutely fabulous. So just a little plug for that. We are so glad that you have joined us today, that you have chosen to spend this hour with us, that you have blessed us with your love and your energy. And we look forward to meeting with you again soon. And as we often do, we'd like to close this service with our prayer for protection. This was written by James Dillett Freeman, and it is a lovely, lovely prayer. So let us join together in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you again for joining us. Blessings, namaste. And remember, you are the light of the world.
You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light. So let your light so shine. So let your light so shine. So let your light so shine. Let your light shine. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light.